By George, I think I've got it.
Hybrothetical Thinking.
I saw that Bigfoot walking across the screen and I thought to myself, wow, they are real.
I ask us all, is that really reasonable?
Hybrothetical Thinking.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
I'll show you a little of the evidence.
Hybrothetical Thinking.
Researchers at Stanford University School of Medicine have pioneered a cancer vaccine that eliminated all traces of cancer in mice.
You could find evidence of that, my friends. You could change the world.
Hybrothetical Thinking, a podcast for the hypothetical thinker.
Greetings, travelers, and welcome to Hybrothetical Thinking, a semi-informative podcast that explores the journey from probability onto a boat headed to the Bermuda Triangle, diving down deep into the crevice of Johnny's butthole, and then right outside his mouth, into his eyeballs, and then back inside of his mouth to stay there and live there until someone finds it buried deep in his bowels.
I thought you were going to leave me out of it.
No, I was going to keep you in it.
You're just so hard into it.
You're welcome.
I took my sweatshirt off. That was so funny.
He's so hot, he's taking his sweatshirt off. My name is Nick Floyd, and I'm joined by my two very handsome, very Leonardo DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street-esque co-hosts.
Taylor.
I'm definitely Johnny from that movie.
And the way this works
Definitely.
is that either Taylor or myself will do the research for our weekly episodes, and Johnny, sweet Johnny, good old Johnny boy that looks just like Babe the Pig in the Big City, goes into every episode
That'll do.
completely blind, very similar to the Odyssey's author, Homer, who was thought to be blind. There's no confirmation on that, but that's a fact.
Was he blind?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's to be determined.
I like the Odyssey. I read it as a kid. It was like only book I actually enjoyed reading.
There's a theory that he was blind.
I enjoyed the Odyssey as well. Didn't Francis Ford Coppola, or is like somebody fucking crazy? Who did the Odyssey movie that was like made for TV?
This is a movie?
I don't know.
Yeah, man, we had to watch it in school several times. It was dope as fuck.
Jason
who's
and the
like
Argonauts?
Lead actor's like, boss.
Hey, Francis Ford Coppola, The Odyssey. The Odyssey miniseries, directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Made for TV. Weird, dude. It was good. Really good. Odysseus and his journeys.
It was produced by Francis Ford Coppola, and I don't know where he comes into play. I'm a little lost in this whole scenario.
All right, well,
he's a player in the game, apparently.
anyways.
He absolutely is. How you guys doing? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Today's a big day here on my side of the world. Atlanta Falcons got game 2 of the preseason, so I'm pumped about that. Otherwise, dude, I got a fucking sweet tan going on because I went to the beach.
He does.
Hey.
Taylor has a great tan. Tanner than me.
He is.
Yeah. Oh, actually, he's a different tanner than me. I don't think he's tanner than me. Yeah, Taylor was at the beach. You know why he was at the beach? Because we were in Orlando a week ago. Taylor was there.
Fucking
he tanned.
dope.
It was great. While we were there, we were at a panel for you people. Some people listening were at that panel. It was great seeing you guys, hanging out with you guys, and hope you spun our wheel at our booth.
How you doing, Johnny?
Dude, I'm great. I was about to say I'm great because of everything I just said, but I already said it, so I'm great because of previously said.
He's just great.
I'm great.
He's doing great.
He's doing great. He's always doing good. How you doing, Nick? Tell us. I know you're going to tell us.
Taylor, thanks for asking.
Tell us.
Johnny, and I knew you were going to ask me, but Taylor just beat you to it.
Nick,
Beat him to the punch, bud.
I'm doing great.
Okay.
I just finished drinking probably one of the world's worst caramel macchiatos from the McDonald's McCafe. Surprise!
I just finished
really?
mine. Ready?
Mine was hot, and it slowly started turning into sludge as I kept drinking it, and now there's this like sludgy bottom.
Can I see it?
Yeah, look.
That sounds
More.
extremely metal.
That looks like just like syrup.
I feel like this is what that Faro Punch probably would taste like.
Nasty.
So, I'm not going to lie, dude. I love McCafe, like the mocha
Usually.
frappuccinos, dude. I love them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. As soon as they touch the bottom of my stomach, I can feel the damage that is being done.
Oh, no, I feel it right
as they
now.
touch my
real
stomach.
time.
It doesn't feel good. But, I think about the McCafe and the damage it's doing to me right now, but I also think about the joy that was brought to me last night and this morning. I rewatched Ex Machina and forgot how good that movie actually is.
I have not had the opportunity to forget. I have not seen it.
Oh, it is one of the best movie about robots I've ever seen in my entire life.
Robots?
Yes,
I think it's a great movie. I think psychologically, it's like almost like it's not hard to understand, but it's a journey. And once you do, I think, figure it out psychologically, it's pretty fucking dope.
It was made for us.
Okay.
Like
It's made for the thinkers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex
Hypothetical
Garland made the
thinkers.
movie in 2015, and when he was making the movie, he goes, these guys are going to start a podcast, and they're going to call themselves Hybrothetical Thinking, and this movie is going to be for them. It's going to be a love letter to them, for them, from me. And he's right.
Yeah, yes. If that's what he wanted, then yeah, he's right.
Why didn't he ever tell us?
Well, I think he was waiting for us to find out,
No, we'll call him.
and we did. I did, and now we're all going to watch it together.
What?
Yeah, no, not right now.
Okay.
And now,
Long episode.
on today's episode, we're going to all stream Ex Machina in its entirety, and we're going to provide commentary. And
That'd be kind of cool. Let's fucking do that. That'd be cool.
The first time when Taylor doesn't have context, I do. That would be a fun. What if we did a thing where like we watched something and only I had context, like soccer, and you guys were like had no idea what was happening? That'd be pretty
What
funny.
is this sport? Keep using their feet and stuffs.
I don't understand.
I know. All you need to know about soccer is offsides. Isn't that the only thing? I mean,
It's a very important
like the
rule, but
one
nobody
rule.
knows about it unless they have played soccer. It's hard to wrap your head around.
yeah,
It's true.
It is. I guess unless you played hockey, because I think it's pretty similar to the hockey offsides.
Is there a hockey offsides?
There is a hockey offsides.
cherry
I
pick.
think it is the same.
You know what's funny? I saw one of our FanFest, I guess, employees or colleagues wearing a shirt that said Top Corns. And in soccer, it's called Top Corner when you can get the ball in any corner because it's a hard place to reach. And the word Top Corns is a fucking rad, but I wish we capitalized on that because that's a hilarious, like, I don't know.
Top corns?
I
Yeah.
had it in my head.
So in the baseball realm, you get a pop fly, you yell, can of corn.
Can of corn.
Can of corn.
Cool.
Because it's like back in the olden days, when these baseball players, they worked their day jobs at the supermarket, right? And somebody would be knocking off the cans of corn from the top, and they'd be catching them. And when they're on the way down, somebody say, hey, can of corn, and you catch at the bottom. Hence the term, can of corn.
Rad. So we
Yeah,
got,
that's fucking
we got some news?
Boys, do I have some news
Was that
for
not
you?
the news? Holy shit.
That was the news was just about pop ball.
Ball flies?
The pop ball. Pop fly.
Pop balls.
Baseball. I got some real news for you, Taylor. This one's going to really, really, really just tickle you right on your baby toe. This one's very close to home.
Tickle my pickle. All right, buddy.
It just might. And Johnny, you'll probably enjoy this as well.
It's not going to do anything to me?
It won't do anything to you
Then
except
I'm not going
provide
to
you
enjoy
enjoyment.
it.
Okay.
So, someone was real hungry. And I'm talking like
Ooh.
real hungry.
Okay.
I'm talking like the lion in that one movie about the lions eat all the people hungry. I'm talking
Wait,
Wait, what?
with Val Kilmer?
I'm talking about the snake and anaconda hungry.
Okay.
That's real
Wow,
hungry.
He's hungry.
I
And
didn't eat yet today.
well, you're going to be real hungry after
Taylor's
this.
really hungry.
So this guy who was super hungry
Okay.
decided in Georgia,
Yeah.
in
Oh,
Fayette
shit.
County,
Okay.
he decided to steal a large trailer, 53 feet to be exact, that was parked at a Chevron
53-foot
store
trailer.
on I-85 North.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
And that trailer was holding
What's inside of it?
$100,000 worth of ramen noodles.
Whoa!
And he stole it and drove away.
wait, $100,000. What is that, like 100,000 ramen noodles?
That's 100,000 ramen noodles.
we could find the contents and the price just by knowing how many were in there.
It's a lot. And this happened on the 15th. Is the last it was reported.
What's today?
And to this day, they have not made an arrest, nor have they retrieved the giant 53-foot
He ate it all.
full of ramen noodles.
He ate it all.
I did some math, okay? I'm going to break down some
I
math.
already did the math, Nick.
The cost of ramen is 13 cents
What? It's only
for a
13
consumer
cents?
average packet.
What?
Yes, so if you buy a big box,
$1,000.
when it's broken down, so you can eat 3 meals a day of ramen noodles for an entire year for just $142.65.
And he has
Ooh,
100.
not bad.
$1,000
times that? He has 1,000 times
He has
that.
100,000. either this
So
guy's
he can live for 1,000 years.
Taylor, you're right. Sodium content. You're going to become essentially a superpower.
if the cops don't get him and kill him, the sodium count will. That's a dietary nightmare.
Dude, you can put anything in ramen, though. Anything. It's just a good noodle.
Yeah,
It's a straight up noodle. You don't have to put the sauce packet on it.
Create eggs in there. You can put some pesto, different spices. You can put different types of meat in there, chicken. It becomes just like a weird curry type of like noodle.
Everything you just said is absolute fact.
It is
absolute fact.
That felt really
and most
good.
of which I've tried.
On top of the high sodium, though, something you can't take out of ramen that makes it not so delicious is a little thing called TBHQ.
Joy?
The hyper.
That's
TBH?
tertiary butyl hydroquinone.
Queenon.
Apparently, it is
going
more
on?
deadly to the human male than red 5 or yellow 5.
Exactly.
What's yellow 5?
So
red
this
5?
guy just
What?
basically wrote his own death note. He signed it, signed, sealed, delivered, and said, "I'm gonna die in this
sealed,
truck
Wait,
full of ramen noodles."
You said that he stole it, because he's hungry. How do you know he's hungry? And how do you know he even ate it? He could have just got it and
He
stole
could be
those.
giving it to the homeless.
Yeah, he could be.
This could be he could
a
be a
Robin
superhero.
Hood.
Or he could be
A
killing,
Robin Hood.
killing
A
the homeless.
ramen hood.
Robin Hood. Oh man,
write it down.
Zog.
Ramen Hood.
I don't know. Yeah, dude, if he was just rolling around in like the ghettos or the poor parts of Georgia,
Santa.
and like just giving away ramen noodles, like fuck yeah. Or maybe he went to some colleges and probably sold them.
Yeah, you could easily
College
sell
kids would buy
them.
'em.
Totally. I mean, you could sell those things if they go for 13 cents a pack. I would have bought one for $1 a pack, no problem. Like you could make it's like 10
I mean, you could
profit.
sell them for 50 cents. 2 for 1. You're beating the grocery store, and you're 5 timing your profit.
He could be easily capitalized on this. And since his ceiling was so low, literally his overhead was zero because he stole the damn thing. Everything is turning a profit. Everything is a surplus. Nothing's a deficit because he'd have to buy this whole truck. So he's literally making so much bank. We should steal ramen trucks.
They don't even know when. Like
Ramen bandits.
according to this report, this says the theft occurred sometime between July 25th and August 1st.
Sometime
between.
So there are just trailerfuls of ramen just out there in our cities, just chilling. I don't know if that's like a cool thing because like that is now like a mission on Grand Theft Auto, probably.
Yes.
Like-
Steal the 53-foot trailer truck full of ramen.
Otherwise, how long is our fucking ramen sitting out there in random places?
Well, you gotta remember it's dried.
Before we eat it.
Apparently, you can last for it's doomsday food.
Yeah.
All it needs is water to actually become a different type of element. I don't know.
It's
solid.
dormant. It's dormant
Yeah.
inside, and you just hit water.
Its
and
state goes from
it's
a
a
solid
seed.
to a semi-liquid. I don't know.
It doesn't
like
make
a chia
sense.
seed, like a chia seed, chia pet.
But clearly, ramen's not
Turns to a
worried. They're
gel.
going to take the loss, the $98,000 loss, because
That'll
they
eat
know
it.
that they're going to make it back.
Yeah.
There's lots of college students in debt.
Raise their
They need to eat.
price by to 14 cents, and then they make all that profit back in a second.
Yeah, in one day.
Or just sell faster. Boom, no problem.
Exactly.
I mean, how did he know? Did it say ramen on the side?
He probably thought he was stealing something real good.
Yeah,
He's like, I got 53 feet.
Steaks.
The odds are high. The odds
53
are
feet,
high
baby. Yeah.
that something good is in there, and I'm going to steal it.
Could have been a tiger. Could have been food.
Could have been a tiger. Yeah.
It
He
could have been furniture.
He steals the
shit.
truck, gets it where it needs to go, opens it up, and he's like, "Fuck!"
And then has to fight Mike Tyson. Like, oh, dude.
Mike Tyson.
It's like, this is the third time this week. Third time.
Ah, shit, dude.
Everybody's stealing my damn tigers, man.
Steal my tigers.
So I tell you that news because it's trending, and we got to stay fresh. Fresher than a pack of ramen noodles.
We gotta stay.
Fresh Prince of podcasting.
Oh, hey, guys. It's just one of your high bros here. I just wanted to pass along a 10% savings at futuremonsters.com. If you're into the Wolfman, if you're into Frankenstein, King Kong, Dracula, you can go to futuremonsters.com and you save yourself 10% on any of the high-quality threads. They got amazing designs on a quality fabric print. I'll tell you right now, I got one last week. It feels really good on my body. If you want to save 10%, put some stuff in your shopping cart, enter into the coupon code. You want to enter in capital HYBRO. That's capital HYBRO. That's Hybro. Capital HYBRO. Get yourself 10% off. Dude, it was fun as shit, dude. Meeting a bunch of people, though, in Orlando. I gotta tell you, I had a lot of fun. I like being at the cons in general. It's just fun being at these conventions. But I don't know. I felt like we got really cool responses from a lot of people at our booth.
Yeah.
And even for our panel, man. People just came over and they were talking to us, giving us ideas, saying, oh, you guys should talk about this, should talk about that. Have you seen this movie? Have you seen that movie? It was like one of the best weekends ever.
It was amazing.
I think it was really not like an ego boost, but it's definitely like it helped our morale because it was like, oh wait, you guys do give a shit, and you've never heard of us before. Like they haven't been through us the whole entire time. But they almost like got a sense of like what we have done, and they were like 100% for it. And it was like, hell yeah, give me whatever they're smoking.
What's the whole purpose that we started this thing? Like it's an idea to create engagements and conversations with people about things that kind of matter, but don't really. And a lot of people came over, and you could tell these people were like, there were a handful when I was sitting over there where people walked up and they're just like, hey, what's your favorite conspiracy theory? And I'm like, what do you mean? Why are you saying it like that? Just say it.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about it. And like, people are genuinely, I think, afraid of being judged for wanting to talk about conspiracy theories when they're so much fun to talk about.
So much
right.
fun.
And to engage with a handful of people who did seem a little shy about talking openly
totally.
in public about conspiracy theories, and then instantly like having them have the look on their face change almost to a look of acceptance, like, hey, it's cool,
you get me,
we get you, you get me, let's talk about it. And that's the whole point of the podcast, is if it takes
about it.
50 episodes or 100 episodes or however
22 episodes,
22, we're going to get people talking, and we're going to get people, having conversations around the water cooler, talking to their parents. If we have any teens listening to the podcast, talk to your parents. Just ask them some questions. Where do aliens come from?
Dad, don't lie to me. Where do they come from?
Dad,
I'm a grown-up. I understand.
I'm seeing through you right now, man. Seeing through you.
Well, that's that's the way it works.
Dude, okay, we've got our buddy John, who ran our booth this weekend. Okay, we was talking to him a little bit.
Shout out to John.
Dude, shout out to John. Big ups. Thanks for helping us out so much all weekend. But I got to report some info that he threw at us. I heard him say with my own 2 ears that he saw Shazam starring Sinbad. Okay?
I heard him say it too.
I heard him say this. And I backed it 100,000%. And I just wanted to throw it. We're chalking one up on the board for Shazam does in fact exist.
It wasn't probed. Taylor wasn't talking about it. It wasn't brought up. He was like, yeah, I've seen Kazam. And we're like, what?
Yeah. He and I were obviously from the same timeline. We were in the same reality at some point. It's possible that our realities never diverged. Who knows? But there are people out there, and he claims it. So chalk one up for Shazam.
It was weird how many times people would come up and be like, have you guys talked about Mandela Effect? And we're like, yeah, we have an episode on that.
Yeah,
have you talked about Bigfoot? 2. Yeah, we have an episode on that. You talk about like crop circles? Yeah, we have an episode on that.
3.
Yeah. Like I don't think there was one, maybe a couple times people like brought up weird things that we haven't discussed. But it was like, we've covered a lot of shit.
Yeah, it was like that skit from Portland. It was like, we can pickle that. We can pickle that.
Oh yeah.
We can pickle that.
Pickle anything.
We could literally pickle anything. And by pickle, I mean podcast.
And we have so many more topics to cover. So many topics. In fact, Taylor's bringing us another hot topic today.
Hot topic. This one is sponsored. No, this is not.
Hot topic. Like Hot Pocket?
Hot topic.
What is it?
Box Lunch, formerly known as Hot Topic.
Wait.
Formerly known as that store that we went to in high school because people thought we were goths.
Hot Topic. Podcast in disguise.
The place that Johnny never went anywhere near because he was afraid that people would judge him.
Hot Topic?
The only place in the world to buy a Sublime shirt.
Yeah, or like Rick and Morty stuff. I definitely did go to those places. It was like, this is like an adult kind of like humor thing. It was like, if I go in there, I'm going to get like some kind of disease or something. I don't think of that now, but I was like, only the people who were like bad to the bone go in those places. But I was a kid. Now I'm like, hit me up.
Look at that guy,
beat me up if I go in there.
He's got spiked bracelets and spiked hair. Dude, fucking kick my ass.
Mainly Hello Kitty backpacks in there. Dude, I don't know if you've actually been in.
It's like Harry Potter
Mainly
stuff.
Hello Kitty. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was kind of a prissy bitch, let's be honest.
You still are.
We saw you in a dress.
Yeah. Oh! For those of you who have no idea.
Listeners, who were not there. Wait. Oh, big news. Our last episode that we just posted was our live panel from Orlando. Not only did we post Johnny wearing a dress, so go check that shit out.
Fuck.
It'll be up on our YouTube page where you can actually see us. Some live video, y'all. You can see us.
Yeah, I'm in a dress. It's really awkward.
It's great.
There's a story, but we don't have time for it.
We don't. We don't.
Text me or send me a message
24
on
minutes
our,
in.
text us on our Instagram if you want to actually hear the whole story. I'll let you know. But there's a reason.
No, just listen to the podcast because he talks about it in the episode.
Barely. There's a whole story.
No, you guys just need the bare bones. Johnny semi-informed you. The rest is
So send us a message on
up to your
Instagram.
mind.
I'll let you know.
No.
All right,
No.
do whatever you want. All right, Nick, Taylor, whoever's doing it. What are we talking about today?
Which one of you guys is doing this thing?
All right, guys, here we go. Let's dive on in. All right? This is one of the first spells learned by any young witch or wizard.
Oh
and
my
can
God.
make things fly with just the flick of a wand.
Wingardium
charm is
Leviosa?
Huh?
Wingardium Leviosa?
No. Fuck you. So, this charm is an excellent test of your magical skill, wand control, and above all, patience, Johnny, which you have none. You have no patience.
What, patience?
Which you layman's pronounce it patience. So, it was the first requirement in the 1996 Theory of Charms exam. Obviously, I'm talking about Wingardium Leviosa.
Oh, I did get it.
You
Taylor,
guessed it.
you can't. You give me any sliver of information from Harry Potter, I'm going to just throw it in your face as fast as I can because I can't wait for that shit, okay?
All right, bud. Okay, well, then why don't you do this, Johnny? Can you tell us every instance in the HP universe
When they did it?
where Wingardium Leviosa
Yeah.
was used?
So, first movie was the most amount used. When they were in that little midget's classroom, Hermione was pronouncing it correctly, and she raised how many things? Probably about 30 kids.
Bro, you're so far off.
You're
In
wrong.
the Harry Potter universe? Well, we're going
You're
way,
flat out
way
wrong.
back to like...
Did he
You're
just...
talking 1996.
I'm just talking Harry Potter first. Just Harry Potter first. Then
Yeah,
we'll
you're
go back
talking
They
the
were
year
books
1996.
first.
But we'll
no,
go
you're
back.
talking...
We'll go back to Fantastic Beasts. We'll go
No, you're
back
talking
into
about
other
1991 is
because
what you're talking
there's
about.
so many stories
Fantastic
of Dumbledore.
Beasts came after Harry Potter.
Well, no, but in the actual timeline, it came before. I could go way back.
Yeah,
in
the actual
folklore.
timeline was 1991 when that happened with Hermione.
I'm saying I'm first doing my experience of what I saw, and then I can go way back.
So as long as I ask you questions about the HP universe that you know about.
No, I'm just saying I'm doing it for order. 'Cause the order that it came out in
Back fan.
visual.
Back fan.
Whatever. fuck
Okay,
off. All right.
okay.
So you know what? I'll take a seat back. You know, I'm outnumbered here. You guys
I'm going to
can
take
do
that
it.
comment. I'm going to retract it. And I'm going to put it in my back
I
pocket.
know more about Harry Potter than either of you fools. So you just fucking go and you think that I'm not going to have comments. I have comments.
You said the teacher's name was the little
I have to
midget
think
guy.
about his
Little
name.
midget guy.
He was only in there for like.
Who is he played by?
I don't know.
Warwick Davis.
Is that his name?
Ooh.
And I don't
didn't
even
know that.
see all the Harry Potter movies, and I even know that.
No, wait. I think you're thinking about. I don't think you're thinking about a different.
Look what you've done, Taylor. Look what you've done.
Willow. Mad
Willow.
Madigan.
No, that's a different teacher. That's
No,
not the same guy.
same teacher.
No, it's not.
Different teacher?
It's totally different. The guy I'm
No,
talking
you're
about-
wrong.
You are wrong, sir.
The teacher.
With the hat and the long hair, different dude.
the hat and
Harry
the long
Potter
hair.
won.
To clear this up,
Yeah,
guys.
I know he doesn't. You're
the
wrong.
first time it was used in Harry Potter universe was in 1544 by Jareth Hobart. Okay, so now you know, Johnny. Now you know. He was the first one to use that spell, and he cast it on himself before he jumped off the roof of a local church. And
He's
he was
like,
suspended in midair for a brief moment before falling and hurting himself severely.
Trying to kill himself, and he used an accident.
He was just hurt, but he did. He was the father of levitation spells as far as Harry Potter universe goes.
Okay.
Okay. So since we just spent our beautiful weekend back in Orlando and my mind is still obviously at the beach, today we're going to talk about a little place near Miami where the beer flows like wine and the women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano.
What?
I'm talking about a little place called Coral Castle.
I have no idea. What's Coral Castle?
So Coral Castle is a series of structures currently residing in Homestead, Florida, and it consists of a 22-ton obelisk, a 9-ton revolving door made out of stone, and numerous multi-ton statues of celestial bodies like Saturn, the moon, and Jupiter.
How does that correlate to Harry Potter?
What?
How does...
I'll get to that, bud.
Okay.
I'll
I'm
get
just,
to that.
I'm just making sure.
So also on this site, there was a living quarters, a tool room, and many other creative carvings and statues that make up things like tables, usable rocking chairs, and a wishing pond stargazing things that are aligned with celestial, the sky bodies, things like that. So the existence of such a place is not so much the mystery. It's there. You can go visit it. You can tour it to this day. But it is how this wonder was created that has people stumped. So this castle that really it's called a castle, but it seems more like a rock garden.
A rock garden?
Like a rock garden, yeah. It's
That's
like
what all castles are. Rock gardens.
rock garden. Like it's not a big fortress that you think of with 100-foot high walls and turrets and shit
A
like
moat.
that. You know
You
what
sound
I mean?
like
Yeah, it's not that.
you sound like a king in the medieval times. His
Hey,
castle,
I know my castle pats. Hey,
his
the
castle is
Bob
more
Vila
like a
of
rock
castles.
garden.
Yeah, apparently the person who built this is the Bob Vila of castles.
Okay.
So this castle was built single-handedly over a 28-year period by one single frail 5-foot, 100-pound Latvian immigrant named Edward Leedskalnin. Fucking all by himself. No help. Only simple machines. Very simple shit. So, old Eddie was born in 1887 in Latvia and spent his early life working as a stonemason, and his father was a stone worker. Illuminati confirmed.
Okay.
Did you say Freemason?
Yeah, obviously Illuminati here.
It's stonemason.
Freemason.
Yeah, stonemason.
A
That's
stone-
what Freemasons
A
are.
stone Freemason.
It's a stoned Freemason. It's a Freemason who smoked a lot of weed.
Free stone.
So Freemasons are stonemasons. That's how they all began. They were stonemasons.
Is that real? Is that seriously?
That's a fact.
That's
Oh.
what Freemasons are. That's why it's all you got the contractor in there and all the rulers and all that shit. Protractor or whatever.
The
Neat.
sword and the stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird
Okay.
movie. Okay.
So the story goes that at age 26, he was to marry his 16-year-old fiance.
Oh, okay.
And the day before the wedding, she bailed, stating that he
goodness.
was like too poor. Which is-
Nice job, hon.
Yeah, shitty. That's probably not too poor. I mean, they're fucking already engaged. Wouldn't you decide that a little bit sooner?
No, I think in the last moments you're like, let me really think about this.
Is this what I really want with my life?
Poor.
Fuck it.
Stonemason.
I'm out.
Fight or flight.
16 though, and 26.
fuck out.
Get
Yeah.
the fuck out. So, dude flees to the U.S., ends up working as a logger in the Pacific Northwest for a short period of time before relocating to South Florida to begin his life's work. So most people agree that he had this difference with his fiance, and that's why he left. I only found one tiny little story that said that he was actually some kind of like an armed militant in an uprising, and was like being hunted down by the Tsar's secret police, so he had to flee. But it seems unlikely. The dude was 5 foot tall and 100 pounds. Dude was probably not fighting anybody.
He probably told that story in a bar somewhere, and that's the one that got out. He's like, if I just tell this, it'll
he's
spread that I'm
like,
a
"Oh, yeah?"
badass.
Yeah, I killed a guy.
It's like, no shit?
So, Leedskalnin, seemingly with some advanced knowledge, zeroes in on an area in South Florida called Florida City. It is here that he finds a site suitable for the project of his. The site he chose had one obvious characteristic, and the entire site was basically bedrock made from the rock oolite.
Okay.
And oolite is a type of soft limestone formed by fossilized corals.
Okay.
Yeah, so he basically, when he arrived in Florida, he basically was like, he just ran into this guy who happened to own a shit ton of land in South Florida, befriended this guy, and this guy literally was just going to give him a plot of land. So Leedskalnin just kind of like looked around all over this guy's property, mostly fertile, nice Florida land, and then he chose this one spot that was like, in everyone's mind, the shittiest piece of land because
Yeah.
it was nothing but bedrock. You can't plant shit on here. But apparently that's what he wanted. Just some fucking rock. He wants some bedrock. So he takes over the site, and within like a week, he's already quarrying like blocks, like very big blocks,
Okay.
and is stacking them.
Right.
And it's just kind of like remote areas in Florida, like back in the day. So there's not like people around, but people in the towns and stuff, they are hearing about this. Oh, this guy's making these blocks. He's moving these blocks. So people start going and asking him. They start seeing. They're like, what is this guy doing? He's stacking these blocks. People ask him, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, how are you doing this? They can't figure out how he's moving all these big-ass blocks because they look to be, they're about like 10 tons at this point. They're big as fuck.
Okay.
And the only tools he's using are wooden tripods, chains, and ropes.
Wait, when was this time again? What year was this?
This is in the early 1900s.
Wow.
Yeah. As the teens.
I mean, it can't be any heavier than like the Egyptians building the pyramid, though.
Well, exactly. That's what he said. And when people would come and ask him, they're like, dude, how are you doing this? What he would say,
He said,
most
"Read a
he would
book."
answer in these. No, he would say that he knows how the Egyptians built the pyramids.
Oh, shit.
And then he knows how they manipulate things, and that's how he's doing it. And he would answer in all these weird, mysterious ways. Like he just,
Only in
understand
rhymes?
the ways of the world. Yeah.
Only a riddle.
Yeah. And he would just say, like, he understands the relationships between pulleys, levers, mechanical advantages, and shit like that.
Well, and I know firsthand, you can take something that's 1,000 pounds and reduce it to tenfold, like 10 pounds, if you use the right amount of pulleys and leverage.
Yeah, there's a core
Yeah,
in your
exactly.
body where
What?
I could tell you to push me over, but I can make myself in a rock formation, sort of like Kirby in Super Smash Brothers. And you can't push me over.
no
I'd
matter
like to
what.
see
Yeah,
you try.
there was a news thing
Okay.
of these guys who do it because the guys who like attach the cars to them, they can basically take that piece of their core and pull 100-ton trucks with their bodies. But how they learn is they actually lock position and create a sort of like inability to push them over. And there was a girl, a female reporter who was covering it as like a news story, and they taught her how to do it. And this massive jack dude tried to like forcefully push her down,
quote unquote,
and she wasn't moving. Like complete rock formation. And there's
sounds
like
like
science
phooey.
behind it. It's a core thing.
Sounds like free.
I can see it. I mean, I've seen those things where it's just like a bar gag where, like, what is it? Like you hold your arms out sideways and you try and push them down or
yeah.
whatever.
And one of them will go, one of them won't. I used to have this bracelet thing that was like made out of some volcanic core, like it has like volcanic rock in it, and it like helps your pH or some kind of like magnetic field in you, and it helps your balance. Man, it was cool, but I don't believe in that shit. Like,
I believe in it.
It sounds like
I don't know,
it
man.
sounds like they
It's
faked
big
it
money.
for sure.
It's big money. Like, dude, those copper-lined socks, copper bracelets. Dude, every golfer out there on the tour is wearing something with copper in it or whatever, magnets in it. That's
Yeah.
like, in their pressure points or on the wrists.
The
and
pressure
shit.
point on the wrist with the motion sickness.
Yeah,
that shit
Yeah.
works.
That shit's real.
That's
Yeah.
different. That I think changing a sickness in you, or like I said earlier, a pH level or something that was like in your body physically, is way different than like you becoming a superhuman or changing your mass. You can't change your mass.
I change my mass like twice a day, dude.
That was funny.
Sometimes 3 times.
That's impressive.
I fully believe that you can train yourself to learn the ability. So with this guy learning the relationships between the tools that he's working with, I think he can retrain himself and condition himself to utilize his strength. And I think that's how they built the pyramids.
Nick, I will do you one better. If you can learn how to do this, I will pay you $100.
Done.
If I can't. Perfect. All right, Taylor, move on.
Give me 2 weeks.
There are many, many YouTube videos out there that will, it's typically videos where old engineers, old dudes, they're like trying to explain this is how the Egyptians possibly moved these big blocks.
Okay.
And he'll fucking show you that they will move a multi-ton block all by themselves using
pulleys.
Small not even pulleys, dude.
What?
Small pebbles and levers. It is crazy, dude.
You're talking about like you put it's like the Indian thing, or you put like logs underneath a heavy object and roll it.
Similar, but this would be using, that's one method, yeah. But another method that I find really cool is where they're pivoting things on tiny stones. You obviously have to start with leverage at some point, so you have to get under it at some point. And that's one of the weird things with any of these mega structures is, there's a point where you could get leverage, but how do you get to that point,
Also,
that's really like a weird thing.
You were saying earlier that people came by and were like, how are you doing this? And he was like giving them weird, answers and saying, I knew how the Egyptians did it. Well,
why don't they just stop and watch him?
Yeah,
right?
why don't they stop and watch?
Right. That's another weird thing about this motherfucker, dude. People describe him. People tried spying on him. They tried showing up and looking. People say that it's almost like he knew when he was being watched, and he would just completely stop working and just kind of fuck around.
A sixth sense.
Fart around. A sixth sense, if you will.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Just weird that... I don't know. there are people out there who like there's this guy on YouTube, he'll show you he can move a whole barn all by himself. Just one
That's
person.
gonna be me in 2 weeks.
Where he's pivoting shit.
Yeah,
Fish.
There's different ways to raise. Like, you can watch these videos of like a college professor showing his college engineering class how to raise an obelisk. And they're just the ways that you would think of about, digging holes and removing sand. Like, very logical, easy shit to think about.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's not what this guy was doing. He wasn't using sand to displace shit. He wasn't digging holes.
He was using Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa. Leviosa. No, but you can actually go to this place. So my mom went to this place many times. She lived in Miami when she was a kid, and this place is close to Miami.
Miami or Miami?
Miami. Will Smith's Miami, dog.
Okay.
And that 9-ton gate that I talked about is a giant, it's all one rock, right?
Yeah.
And it's carved in such a way where the center of it is taller on the top and bottom, right? So it's kind of situated in the center.
Yeah.
It was later found out in like the 80s that there's actually an axle that runs through it and like a bearing in there that like is what it rotates on. So it wasn't like perfectly balanced all by itself as a rock.
Yeah.
But it was perfectly balanced to where a child could push this 9-ton door.
It's crazy.
What?
Oh yeah, my mom did it. I mean, like you could do it.
Your mom's
like that long ago. Like they'd let little kids do that shit. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. So today, obviously, you die. Kids get killed in those situations. For some reason, in the 50s, they didn't get killed doing these things.
Oh, dude, kids back then were so much more resilient. Kids today can't even take a punch.
Yeah, I stumbled across videos of Coral Castle where one of these cool carvings, I said he carved rocking chairs and shit like that. One of them looked like a rocking carriage. And there's a video of this kid just fucking rocking his ass off on this thing on some stairs. Where like, today, someone would get sued for that. It's like
totally.
he's about to topple over some stairs with this very heavy rock, like
badass.
just crushing him. Yeah, it's crazy.
That I think was so important back then was that like those instances were like almost not Darwinism. It was more like survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest. And
Well,
those
it's
kids probably learn things a little bit differently.
There's a phrase though. It's like kill or be killed. It's like that idea where it's like only the strongest survive. Right? It's like only the what I'm talking about?
It's Cobra Kai philosophy.
Are you Cobra Kai? Are you saying the
mercy.
Coral Castle was like a
death trap for little kids?
A death trap, a natural selection device?
Natural selection. That's what it is.
Dude, not only that, there's this weird place in here that was described as a corner for bad kids to go for his children. So he made this place. When people also asked him why he made this thing, he said that he was making it for a sweet 16, and she'll be here with the kids one day. So, and it's like a cryptic answer, obviously, but I guess people, like obviously his 16-year-old fiance that dumped his ass.
Ex-fiance.
Yeah. So he's like somewhat delusional, I guess, thinking, oh yeah, I just moved across the country, haven't seen her. No, I moved countries, I moved across the world. And I've been across the country several times. This bitch ain't coming. She doesn't know where you're at. This lady
once she
is
sees
off
this
in
huge
her own world.
structure, she's going to be like, oh, I got to take you back.
Yeah. Oh, this extravagant castle. Yeah. So there are things that, like, it's made to be their house. It's made to be their place. So there are things for kids there. There are things that are playful, and it's like that. But it's the whole time he's building it, it's open for tours. He brings people in and he gives people tours. And I guess that's how he made his living. Okay. So like I say, my mom went there as a little kid. She toured it several times. She pushed that fucking door open. Nuts. But so you can go there today and actually, examine this shit yourself. And then you can go into his tool room and you can look at all the tools that he had. You can look at everything he had there.
What you're saying is that I could be part of the Harry Potter universe if I move these doors. I am a wizard.
Well, dude, there are just crazy theories on how this motherfucker be moving this shit, dude. Obviously, he was using the wooden tripods. There are videos of it. There's actual Universal Studios video that shows him basically, hoisting up some of these big blocks via these chained hoists on the tripods.
Hoist.
But like a chain, like a hoist, yeah, like multiple pulleys and gear systems that are making this mechanical advantage like insane. Like you're pulling one chain, and from what I understand with these certain pulleys, like each chain that you add is like doubling your capacity.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You can see in his pictures there's a lot of chains involved, and so he's obviously using them to lift a fuck ton of weight. But you can look at all the tools that are there.
Okay.
which consisted of the tripods. The hoists were claimed to be 10-ton chain hoists. So each hoist that he used would be able to lift 10 tons.
Yeah.
The average block, he was lifting blocks about 15 tons, and the biggest one was like around 30 tons. And the obelisk was 22 tons. So if he was lifting these with the hoists, he would have had to use at least 3 hoists.
Like multiple hoists.
Multiple hoists. And I don't know how they rate like a hoist's capacity. Like, is that before it snaps, or is that
What is
like
threshold?
it can hold this shit at rest, or can it move it this much?
Yeah, that's a weird, measurement. I don't know how they would. I mean, I could call up multiple people who would know this,
Right.
them or my family, but there's got to be a way they can, measure the actual pulling capability, strength, and stress on a object
Right.
before it either snaps, becomes aged, or breaks.
Yeah, obviously they know that stuff, and that's how it's rated. So I wish I did the research on that, but who knows if, does a 10-ton chain hoist, does that give you the ability to lift something that's actually 10 tons up to a space like 20 feet high, 30 feet high? I mean, these things are big, and they're way up there, and they're stacked in such a way that they're pretty high up there. But in his tool room, you look across, through all the things he's got. Some of the things, he has this wall that's like a pegboard wall that has some, shit on it that's just hung up there.
Okay.
Lots of homemade electric resistors, tuners, and a mysterious flywheel. Now, this flywheel consists of 24 magnets embedded in cement in like a circular kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when cranked, it would produce enough energy to like keep itself spinning and potentially, people think, charge these banks of batteries that must have existed.
There's some,
but they're unseen. They've never been seen.
It's spinning, or its movement is creating energy, and that energy is sustaining this to work.
Yeah, it's basically the same type of motor. Some people explain it to be the same type of motor that's in any kind of hand crankable flashlight, radio. You know what I mean?
Output
like
device.
camping thing where you just crank something and it's got
Yeah,
power
yeah.
for a little while.
Yeah.
So essentially that, and people just assume that there must have been banks of batteries that it's charging.
Yeah.
And that it's got a system of wires that goes out to the,
So
to
you're
the compound
You're
here.
telling me that he's out there cranking this thing, trying to charge these huge batteries all day, it's like cranking away.
Yeah, I guess some people have explained it away where he could like jump start it with his car, get it kick started, and it would
okay.
go,
Yeah,
and it's producing its own power, and it's autonomous from that point.
But he could afford a car.
Yeah,
I thought
apparently
he
it
didn't
was-
have enough money.
Well,
Dude, the
maybe
money thing is so fucking weird because apparently he died with money. And every story I've ever read about this guy was like he was rich as fuck. So
Maybe she
I don't
was
know
richer.
how. Yeah, maybe we're talking about aristocratic rich. That
Well, wait, didn't
he
he
needed to be the
say?
boss.
Didn't he validate it and say that he left? Was she? Because she said that, or someone said that she left him.
Yeah, she bailed the day before the wedding.
But wait, didn't he validate it somehow other way and was like, "Hey, I'm a badass because I."
I think it might be aspirations as well. Like that was the turning point for time and technology. I mean, that's when around that time, like film cameras, photography, there were advancements in automobiles, boats, like planes, everything. Like everything was on the brink of
change.
Becoming what they know as modern. So maybe it was that
What they
his
know as modern.
aspirations were not those of immediate wealth than others in that time period that maybe she saw as an opportunity that he didn't really have aspirations. But why did he want to build this coral castle? What was really behind the fact? Like, was he trying to prove something to someone or himself?
Absolutely, to me, it just seems like a display of, I figured out how to do this, and this is an obvious display of power. Like knowledge is power. This is all obvious display of knowledge. So she should want me. They should want me. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's exactly where my headspace is at. Is that everyone was advancing in architecture and automobiles and all
He's
those
like,
specific
I'm
things.
going to figure out Egyptian rule.
He's like, I'm going to do a thing and
Change the
show
fucking
you.
world. Yeah.
I don't need the modernization of technology to actually build on my own, where people are building these structures with mass amounts of people, hiring jobs to take on these mass projects, and yet he's sitting here going, I don't need you. I can do it myself. But the architecture he's working with is stuff that people don't give a shit about. It's it's super rad now, and the fact that he's able to do it on his own is really impressive, but there's nothing he's providing. It's like, cool, you can stack some rocks on each other and make them look a certain way. Dope. But can you run lights through a building?
That don't impress me.
How tall of a building can you actually build? Because right now it just looks like you have a moon-like rock.
Yeah.
Right. You got
somehow
a
freestanding.
two-story tower. It did have a two-story tower that the tool room was in and his living quarters was in. They were contained in a two-story tower.
But
it did
visually,
look fucking cool as shit. Visually, this thing looks balling out of control. I would live there in a heartbeat.
It looks dope, but it looks just like a castle, and it
looks like a roadside attraction. Yeah.
Yeah. People want, at that time, at the turning point of how things were, they were trying to get away from past architecture, and what he was building was a thing of the past, even though how he was building it was a thing of the future.
Right, yeah, we're talking about 50s and 60s, dog. Everything is supposed to look futuristic, and, the things he's building, the Stone Age type stuff. So, yeah, I bet there is, not as much awe for, the passerby until they hear the story, of, how there's just one little fucking dude doing this shit. What? Crazy.
Right.
But what's crazy is that there are a lot of different schools of thought on what was going on there. You can watch videos on, people who are electrical engineers, apparently, they obviously know what they're talking about in comparison to what I know about electrical engineering. They named a lot of parts. But you can watch videos where guys will take this flywheel and they'll be like, the flywheel has to be this, and it had to have had these other parts connected. And if that's the case, then this makes sense. And a lot of them just explain it away as being a one single power source that he could recharge his power banks. It would power the floodlights. One of the things is that he worked at night mainly. Some people think that that's just because it was in Florida, because it was fucking hot.
Yeah, well, you don't want to have sex in the daytime and get whatever that...
Exactly.
You want to die from heat stroke.
Yeah, so it's either it was just hot, or it's easier to be hidden, either to keep it secret. And it is a fact that there is a metal door on this structure somewhere near the entrance of this door. And it's a metal door, and it has this 12-pointed sun on it, and it has some other cryptic little things on it. And it's later been figured out that door is actually what was used as the saw blade that he quarried these rocks with.
What?
Yeah. And he would make people are theorizing, the people that are just saying, this wheel is strictly for power. They're saying that it powered multi-things, like his lights, recharging the batteries, little solenoids that he can bust little tiny rocks off, like little jackhammers. And then it also powered his reciprocating saw, which would quarry these blocks for him, so he's not sitting half there to do it.
So he's going against the grain of society, basically being like, I can create my own power, my own lighting, my own everything.
He can do it all himself, all from this wheel, and it's all rechargeable. And it's all generating its own electricity. The only thing he needs is the battery, I guess he needs an original source of power, which would be his car battery.
I wanted to ask this, Taylor, but I felt stupid. You're saying this was infinite energy. What's the word called?
It's not, though.
It's not. But you're telling me it's not?
It's not, because he needs that original power source, which is his car battery.
Okay.
But once he kickstarts it, it's like your car having an alternator.
Altimeter?
Yeah,
Altimeter?
Well, yeah, it's like your car. It uses the battery charge to start it, and then the alternator charges it up and keeps it going, I guess?
Yeah.
So similar to that. It needs an original jolt, but once it gets going, it produces its own energy.
Yeah.
And it produces way more than was ever put into it, right?
And then, but once
it's powering all these things,
residual runs out, you have to reset the battery.
Well, he could pretty much, that system, once it's going, I guess, is going.
You're saying it doesn't die?
I don't know. That's apparently not part of this concern. It must not be one of those, it's not a perpetual motion, whatever,
Yeah.
It's obviously not, or it would have been some kind of fucking crazy breakthrough like that. But, so the reciprocating saw is real, and just keep in mind, this is limestone. It's very soft. It literally doesn't need a blade on this thing. It's just a sheet of metal that's just constantly grinding against it, and it cuts it. Boom.
Why at night, though? Well,
yeah, I guess the two arguments is maybe it's hot. Yeah, sure. That's the skeptic argument. The other one is it's a little bit more secret, and this is in the 50s and 60s, so, it's not well lit by a city, you know what I mean? It's, a little bit more private just by the fact that it's at night.
But then again, it'd be harder to know if somebody was watching if it was at night. There'd be it's easier for us to find, or any kid to find.
Unless he didn't care what people were thinking. It's just that. That's the detail that stands out to me the most. I think is he was doing it at night. A lot of it represented the planets.
Right,
so
yeah.
a lot of the
lot of constellation
architecture
type stuff.
a lot of constellation type stuff. So
That's
doing
not
that at night makes sense there, but what was the purpose? Like, what is he? Is there something bigger at play here?
Yeah, does it need to be night to use whatever process he's using? Like, is that an integral part of it? I don't know.
Right. If it's like some form of moon energy or some shit. You know?
Some lunar energy. Yeah, he does have a lot of cool celestial things. Like any of these monolithic things, it's like they're lined up to pretty cool constellations. Like he has what he calls a telescope that has two holes from like two rocks that are on distances from each other. One of them has like these crosshairs, and if you like place the star Polaris somewhere in relation to these crosshairs, you can judge somehow the Earth's like rotation around the sun or something. And he has that marked out on a big table or something. It looks cool as shit. So he's like able to like do some cool tracking and stuff. He's got like a sundial and shit that works, that looks cool or whatever. But one of the weird things about this is I can't remember the exact year, but it was somewhere like halfway through the process of building this shit, right? That for whatever reason, and there are a couple of different theories on why he did this. One stupid story that I saw is that he got jumped and beat up, like in the Coral Castle. So he decides that he's going to move this whole fucking thing. Either way, no matter what the thing is, why he did it, he fucking packed up the whole goddamn place and he moved it.
What?
So, yeah, I think the year was 1928. I'd have to double check on that. So he moved the entire site from Florida City to Homestead, Florida, where it sits today. And many have pointed out that he may have moved based on a surveying error that he had previously made. So throughout history, man has created some massive structures. You guys named some of them. Like all these monolithic structured, like Machu Picchu,
Stonehenge, Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Giza. They're all on these ley lines. Or these unseen grids or forces that sync or harmonize at certain intervals around the globe.
Yeah.
Like you guys have heard of ley lines, right?
Yeah.
It's has something to do with the gravitational pull of the Earth, the magnetism of the Earth, blah, 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 blah. But there are people who are out there that really believe in, it's like called the world grid theory or something like that, where there are all these different types of forces that interact, and where they interact forms these ley lines, and then where these ley lines intersect is like amplified kind of characteristics of whatever that, ley line is.
Huh.
Just so fucking happens that the place that he moved is closer to this ley line. He was just kind of like not on the ley line when he was in Florida City.
How do you know when you're allowed on a ley line? Is there a way you can measure that?
What's
There's
his
apparently a way
background?
you can measure it, but yeah, I mean, people know. I mean, it's mapped out on actual maps what people think they are.
This guy knows a lot about
Sounds like a future
constellations.
like a
He knows a
traveler.
lot about ley line. Like, what did he do for a living? Like, he knows.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, he was a stonemason in the early days back in Latvia. Possible that, I don't know. I mean, masonry goes far back. That's what branched into Freemasons.
How
because
does he
they
know
could
about
so stuff
many-
out. I don't know.
He knows about so much stuff with planets and ley lines and gravitational pull. Like,
Yeah,
that was tough to like. Science was not something that was
that easily
openly discussed
Right, the fringe
in the
books
early
were
1900s.
probably not easy to get back then.
No,
But
So
one
it's
thing
like,
that's in the favor of the skeptics who are like, yeah, he just knows mechanical advantage, was, the first few years he was in the U.S., he was a logger in the Pacific Northwest. And talking about, like, Sequoia, like, this is in the early days where they were cutting those motherfuckers down, dude. They were cutting those trees down, Like, as crazy as that is, like, if you've ever been to one of those forests,
Sequoia
you
National Forest in
know that
California?
it is ridiculous. Huh?
Sequoia National Forest.
Yeah,
in
like
California.
redwoods, like a redwood
They're
sequoia tree, yeah.
Huge.
If you've ever seen one of those things, you know that it's different, man. And, like, you're not supposed to cut that shit down.
No.
You're not supposed to cut it down. Whatever is going on over there is unique, and you don't fuck with it. But people were fucking with them. They were cutting them down. So I'm sure in the process of his logging days, he got real involved in moving real big objects
Well, totally.
in a sensible way, using ropes, pulleys, levers, and leverage, So that kind of makes sense that he could gain some knowledge hoisting around these giant timbers, It It could.
So
it
wait.
obviously could translate.
What
you
you're
know,
telling me
into
is that
lifting big
he
things.
is the reason why Oak Island has so many timber levels?
Right? Yeah, dude.
It makes
So
sense
this is
now.
far after Oak Island, but
Yeah, well, I'm saying his ancestors.
still, his ancestors knew what the fuck was up.
Yeah.
But, dude, okay, so one of the weird stories about when he relocated this whole fucking thing, and this is like one of the clinchers that's like, what? Explain that shit to me. When he goes to move this thing, right?
Yeah.
He has to move the entire structure, block by block.
Wait. When
From
he
Homestead
moves,
over
he
to
has to
Florida
move
City.
everything?
Yeah, he's moving this entire site.
I thought you were just saying that he was just moving his setup, not the rocks. He's moving all of it?
Oh, yeah, you think he's just, I'm just going to go live somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, he's going to live somewhere else, and he's taking this entire structure with him.
So it wasn't
you know.
rooted down?
Nah, I mean, these are just blocks stacked on top of each other. That's it.
He's
And
like,
it's in a bedrocky area, so it's sitting on bedrock, you know.
this is his centerpiece. And he's like, I want to bring
is
that
coming with
furniture to my next place. Okay.
Yeah, so if
Wow.
you're on the ley line theory and you're thinking, okay, he's just trying to get closer to the ley line or
Yeah,
more
yeah.
on the ley line junction, which, you know, fun fact is the west corner of the Bermuda Triangle. Illuminati confirmed. So basically, he has to move it block by block. Hires
Yeah.
a trucking company, right?
Mhm.
The way they do this is the trucking
Well, how
company
does he-
drops off the truck. Huh?
Yeah. I was like, how does he calls up like U-Haul and he's like, hey, I got some stuff you need to move. I got furniture, I got
Yeah.
my books, I got my flywheel. I also got about 50,000 tons I need to move.
50,000 tons. Oh, dude, fun fact. Let me find out how many fucking tons it was, dude. It was 1,100 tons total that this guy moved.
Damn.
Total, yeah. That's
And
3
these
million
trucks
pounds.
are holding that.
Yeah. Obviously not in one truckload. Many truckloads.
Wide load,
So-
heavy load.
He calls up two men in a truck, right? And they show
Yeah.
up at night. They drop the truck off, and they leave. And then they come pick the truck up the next morning, and it's fully loaded with blocks, right?
Okay.
Drive it to the new location. They park it there at night. They come back the next morning. Truck's unloaded.
No questions asked?
No questions asked. And they're thinking, damn, this guy's good, man. They don't ever see anybody working. There's no employees. They know the rumors of this guy, and they're like, hey, he just knows how to use his pulleys and tripods. Man, this guy's crazy. So one night, dudes drop off the truck, and they forget something at the site, like in the truck. So they have to come back and pick it up. They come back in less than 30 minutes, and the truck is like half full of stones already.
Whoa,
These
only
giant
30 minutes?
stones. Yeah. So these guys were giving him
Damn.
credit. Yeah, maybe he can do this, and he's just like a Houdini, and he's doing this overnight. But like in 30 minutes, dude, what is this guy doing? There's no way. Like I watched a video on YouTube on how to construct these tripods. And to construct a tripod that's that tall, like, you know, to move something, 15 feet in the air, the tripod has to be something 20-something feet.
Yeah.
You basically start with small tripods. You start, like a very small tripod, you get it lifted with these little pulleys. Then you use that to lift a bigger tripod, do the same thing, and
Okay.
use that to lift a bigger tripod. So it's like a process, you know what I mean? It's not just, set these 3 things up and we're good to go. It's a very long process. And keep in mind, you're not just lifting something up vertically. You're moving it horizontally.
Yeah.
And
Which
you're
I think is
placing it
up and in.
carefully.
Yeah, that's a bigger part of it because you're not moving it into 2D space, moving it into 3D space, which is like
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
not just
know
lifting it.
I don't know the mechanical engineering behind it, but like that causes for so much more math and so much more precise engineering.
And like you literally would be swinging from tripod to tripod at that point,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only way I've been able to picture it. So
Did
that's
it-
what's fucking crazy.
Did this happen at night?
Yeah, all this is at night.
Of
So they would
course.
show up in the
There's
morning,
night
it's
again.
loaded. Show up in the morning, it's empty. You know what I mean? And they're just like, gosh. Yeah, so this event happened at night. They came back at night, like 30 minutes after they dropped the truck off, and it's like halfway loaded. They're like, what the hell's going on? So that's
Okay.
like one of these legends, that's permeated. And that has led people to really look at this in a different way. And other people explain that his power producing device, this flywheel, which some like to explain as something very simple, others explain that it might be used in combination with his homemade tuners and resistors to somehow find like the resonant frequency of a block after it's cut. And then once that frequency is found, per that block, he would use whatever is, oh my goodness gracious, I left out a really big detail, dudes. Did I tell you guys that on all these tripods, on top of these tripods, there is a mysterious box? And in this box, no one knows what the fuck's in this box, but the debunkers say that must be where there were batteries. And that's what went from, a wire would come from the flywheel to that, to this battery, and that's just powering a light, like on the top of his winch or whatever.
It doesn't justify the weight of these objects and how quickly they can move in the early 1900s.
It literally makes no difference in the weight of this object. That is just trying to explain what that box is.
Huh. Yeah.
But what these other people believe, these resonant frequency believers say, is that up in that box, there is some other device that we don't know what it was, because those boxes are gone. You don't know what was in there, and it's somehow, like you can see in pictures, that there's electrical line that goes down from that box to the ground, and it kind of, you can't tell where it terminates. It just, maybe it's rolled up in the ground, blah, 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 blah. Some people think that it's possible that he used whatever wire this was, would wrap it around a block. He would basically use the tripods to gain a small amount of leverage on the block, right? Lift it up enough to wrap the block, kind of like you would wrap a guitar pickup or any other electromagnet.
Okay.
And that in some way, using whatever type of power this flywheel would generate, in combination with some kind of a frequency generator maybe in the box, he would manipulate the block's resonance to change the effect of the Earth's gravity on that block, i.e., he make that bitch float.
What?
That's really fascinating. So he's harnessing the energy of this. I'm trying to make this make sense. And he's kind of like lessening the gravitational pull of the Earth because he's influencing its gravitational
Which
pull?
makes sense. He could do it at night.
Why?
With the
moon?
Gravitational effects, with the moon.
Guess their tidal thing is going on. Maybe that does have something to do with it.
Very small. You know when they see the tides
that could
coming
be another
in?
variable.
It's actually the Earth moving towards the tide. Like it's the actual movement of is very, very small. People are like, I feel different turning into a werewolf. Like the moon's changing me. It is so minuscule. I would believe that it's more to do with the Earth than the moon.
I don't know.
Well, think about
the sun and the moon change so many things, and everything reacts to them.
Well, there's that the whole thing when there's like a full moon or something, and you take a broom and you face it directly at the moon. The broom can stand up on its own. and I've done it.
No, you haven't.
What?
I swear, I have pictures somewhere on my social medias where when there is a full moon, because of the the magnetism of the Earth, you take a broom and you stand it directly underneath where the moon is, in relation to the sky and where you're standing. The broom will stand up on its own, pointed, facing up.
It has to
that
be.
That sounds crazy.
100% above you.
Yeah, the moon has to be above you. Everywhere else, if you just I'm going to put it up, it'll fall. I swear.
I'm
going to find a picture.
I'm not buying that shit.
You guys have for sure heard of acoustic levitation, right?
Oh, yeah. When you with a different audio wave, you can make something float.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's being done on a daily basis. That's out there. That's being done. And you can potentially drive something via acoustics if you have a grid that you're able to manipulate different points on this grid. You could move something through it.
I guess that sound frequency, if you had enough of that, if you had a big enough sound frequency, you could probably harness something that is heavier than something like a small,
Yeah, that's one of the things with the acoustic thing is not only would people be hearing this, but they would probably be like very obtrusive noises, like crazy noises. You know what I mean?
It could be such high frequency you wouldn't hear it.
Could be something that you don't hear. Yeah, something ultrasonic that is like you don't hear it at all. You don't perceive it. Dogs see it, hear it, or whatever. But one of the cool things that neighbors have claimed is that he used to sing to his rocks. He used to sing to these stones.
Whoa.
That was something that they said, yeah. So maybe,
hello, Rocky, float over here.
These homemade tuners I talked about that he has hung up, it's possible that he takes these tuners and he's, maybe singing, a pitch or whatever. So he, just like a guitarist or a singer would, they'd sing this pitch or use a tuning fork to find the pitch. And then they try and tune whatever they're tuning to that pitch. So it's possible that he's trying to find a tone and maybe remember it, or maybe the people are hearing his tuners, making noise somewhat like a wine glass would, when you ring, go around the top of a wine glass, it resonates.
Yeah.
So you can think of it being like that. That's the tuner, and either you find the pitch of the glass that way. That could be what these people are hearing when they think that he's singing.
Yeah,
they're actually hearing his tuners being tuned to different frequencies.
Each rock has its own sound.
To try and locate what is that frequency that this block is reacting to. And some people think that the oolite plays a part in that. That it's possible that the fossilized, the fossilized corals and the oolite might make certain resonances more achievable, or the resonances that they require are more achievable, or something.
Yeah, I'm sure different rocks have. I mean, anything with different like
everything has its own resonant frequency.
Yeah,
that's why the brown note theoretically has to exist.
Yeah, like on certain. This is a true fact. On certain, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But on certain,
no, it does, and I'll explain to you.
Okay, on certain different like stools, I have this up all the time in theater class. When I talk, my normal speaking voice almost always vibrates the seat I'm on or anyone near me. It was a common causality when I was
keeps people awake.
Yeah, like zzz, zzz.
When Johnny's talking.
Is your phone going off? No, it's not vibrating.
Like, no, it's my voice.
I believe it. Yeah, you can resonate anything with certain frequencies. So you're saying that because he's not singing to the rocks, but once he finds a frequency per rock, he can change its mass or whatever. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's possible that he's just augmenting it just enough to where it can be moved. You know,
I just showed Johnny the photo of the broom.
But that broom has a flat side, dude. Also, the picture you showed me, the moon is like a degree or like 4 off the axis.
It's the angle of the photo.
I've never seen a broom with flat bristles. Well, I guess I have, but I guess your classic witch's broom is pretty flat, even bristled.
I need to do this experiment myself and figure out.
I'll put it on social media when we air this episode.
It'll be on. It'll be on.
And you'll see it. This is legit. I believe it. I believe in Earth magnetism and all that stuff. Oh, yeah, I saw it. I did it. Yeah. Like, I've seen it, so I believe that maybe that is influencing these rocks and the way they're shaped. And
I mean, we know that acoustics fuck with shit. I mean, everyone's heard about that Tesla box that, like, he tested one time, and he had to destroy it because it would have destroyed the whole Earth if he fucking even turned it up just a degree higher.
What?
Yeah, like, we'll talk about a whole Tesla episode one day, but just briefly, he made this box when he was in his New York apartment, and it was basically, he called it the earthquake device. And what it would do was find frequencies of certain substances, metals, and he could just turn this thing on, and it would destroy shit. And he turned it on. The one time he tested it out, he was in this New York building, and it almost caused an earthquake and brought the building down. So
wasn't there
destroyed it.
Years around that time? Wasn't there a frequency that actually could cause a metal ball to levitate in like a contained space?
This sounds metal.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, I mean, objects, you can levitate objects acoustically, but from what I understand, the weight is very small.
Taylor's been talking about this for like 30 minutes. Where the fuck have you been?
Huh?
No. I said, Taylor's been talking about this for like 30 minutes. Where the fuck have you been?
No, I'm here. I'm just providing you with details.
Okay. So I guarantee there's some kind of like note you could provide in a concert or anything that would cause an earthquake. And how fucking metal would that be? Like, the song, you get to the bridge, yeah, exactly. You get to a note and then like everybody wearing like they
Everybody
have
boo.
Okay, so brown note. Okay, here's my theory on the brown note, all right? So common idea for the brown note is there is one single note, and that when you hear it, or when it
resonates.
When you feel it, when it resonates, that it's just poop everywhere, and no one can control their bowels.
Your bladder essentially, like, it loosens.
It just lets
bowels,
go.
Yeah.
Okay, I would concede that there could be a frequency out there that played at the right volume, directed in the right way, could just shatter your fucking intestines and probably kill you in the process or whatever. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that that's the brown note.
No.
I would say that the brown note would actually have to be a system of notes, and it would be different for every single person at every different second of their life. Like, there could be a sequence of notes that happens to me right now that the sequence just so happens to where it pushes that poop out of me, and there's nothing I can do.
Well,
but it would be a sequence of notes, and
I believe that because everyone has something specific that affects them. So, like, if I hear nails on a chalkboard or like nail filing, I actually feel like vomiting.
Yeah.
And like there's a frequency that you hear or a sound that you hear that can specifically manipulate how you respond.
Yeah, totally.
And this would be going off like partly it could be that you're like so distraught that you have to poop, or the feeling that it gives you makes you have to poop. But what the other side could be like, since everything has a resonant frequency, okay, this little tiny piece of your intestine had that frequency at that moment. That next point had that one. That next one had that note. That next one had that note.
Yeah.
And it inchworms its way out. Just because it was the magic perfect sequence of resonant frequencies that just happened to poop that out, which will be very rare to happen, but statistically, I guess we have proven that it just happened in some other thread of reality.
Well, hypothetically, that's not a brown nut. That's a brown song.
Brown song, yeah.
Brown song.
Brown song, baby.
It's a
But
brown
how
song.
does he?
What's that movie we watched? Where we were in maybe Nashville, Nick, where it was the Aussies, and it was like the darkest song on the planet, and it fucking started murdering
Deathgasm?
people.
Land Down
Deathgasm,
Under by
dude. That was
Network.
awesome.
So how does if Ed is levitating these objects using whatever frequency or magnetism, the biggest thing is how is he getting it? Okay, getting it up is one thing, but moving it over left, right at an angle that's very specific and strategic to stack it.
That's the crazy part.
Like that's magic.
See, that's what in my mind, if he's using something like that, I would say, Mike Tyson, I would say that he's using these tripods to just get that first initial lift. Just pull the corner up. All you got to do is pull the corner up on the block enough to wrap whatever you got to wrap around it that's going to create whatever field you're trying to create around this block. I don't know enough about electricity and different kinds of magnetic fields and shit like that, but in any case, it seems like that's what you would do. You'd have to wrap in whatever that you want to be wrap this field in.
Right.
So maybe he's using his tripods and stuff to lift it up eventually, originally. And then wrapping it in whatever electrical blah, 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 blah he's using and applying whatever force he's using. And from that point on, once he finds that frequency, it's floating. He doesn't even necessarily need the tripod. Maybe he's just using the tripod. Maybe he disconnects it from the tripod at that point. Maybe he leaves it on there as a safety, which obviously I would. But, once it's acoustically levitated, who knows? Maybe he's just able to push it along really easily and just kind of nudge it in any direction.
Everything was so low cost. What if this all was just a ruse? Like, what if he was using, alien technology at night or magic or something absolutely insane, but the rest of this was just a strategy to create the illusion of I'm using these things and people won't ask as many questions because they see these specific things like, oh, I'm using this tripod in this box and this flywheel. And it's just a distraction for people not to question him and think that he's crazy or the devil.
Right. So one weird thing. When he died, found in his living quarters was bundled together. There was $3,000 cash and a map. And this map,
the Goonies,
they couldn't fucking figure out where it went. And the description that I read was, it seemed like this map was for this place around Coral Castle, possibly, but it seemed to not be in the current they said 3D realm. Like it did not seem to be in this space and time. So it's possible that, dude, in this research I got, I dug deep into the electronics of it, man. I got stuck for like 5-6 hours specifically on electricity that doesn't have anything to do with this episode. And I got into all these different Tesla things that we've got to talk about one day, but some of it is so mind-blowing that Lee Skowronen could possibly be doing some of the things that Tesla and some of these other guys were doing around the same time and before him. So this is around the same time that all these dudes are making these electrical breakthroughs. And the lifetime, what's that?
Sorry, you continue. I'm sorry.
Well, so during his lifetime, he actually released 3 books. One of them was about philosophy, his philosophies. They were little pamphlets. One of them was about family life, which he had 0. It was about how to raise kids in a family.
But he didn't.
He was clearly unqualified to write that book.
Yeah.
And then the third was called Magnetic Current, I believe.
Or the most critical one.
The critical one, yeah. And it basically talked about his flywheel, and it talked about certain things and how he is on the verge of a electrical breakthrough. And maybe Coral Castle was his proof of concept before he just splooges to the world. Look at this shit. I am a genius. But maybe he just didn't know that that's the kind of shit Tesla and other dudes were doing, and people were just snubbing them because they're not Edison,
Right. It was real primitive. Like what he was doing was impressive.
It seemed scary, yeah.
Yeah, but also primitive in the sense that it's like you can't walk up to somebody and be like, so I'm basically using magic.
To To them, it is magic.
The magnetism of the Earth. But did he name it Coral Castle? What I was going to ask. Like, is that
yeah,
his
I believe
name?
he did. Yeah, I believe he named it that, and it was like an attraction, pretty much. Like maybe he realized that okay, he's got to make money, and it could be an attraction. So that's just what it was. It was an attraction that schools went on field trips to.
The seven
But there's nothing about it that's made out of coral.
Well, yeah,
no, it's all coral. Yeah, it's all coral. It's
Because
the oolite. Yeah, the oolite is a limestone, but
that was compressed over the Earth's since evolution. Like it was basically turned
fossilized
into rock.
coral. Yeah,
Fossilized
from
coral.
my understanding, that's what all limestone is fossilized
well,
organic matter.
Exactly.
So I was reading
And that's
that
why
it's
it's so
not
soft.
I was reading that it's not even made out of coral.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it is. It's totally made out of coral. It's visibly made out of coral.
I was writing that it was.
Yeah, it says.
I mean, you can look at it and be like, that's coral.
Well, I'm on livescience.com.
Credible.
And it's saying that although it's not technically a castle or made out of coral, it's still called the Coral Castle.
Huh.
Well, maybe it was.
I don't know.
At one
All the
point.
research I've found is that it was made of oolite, which was the bedrock there, which was underwater, ancient sea, and that it would be fossilized, different fossilized corals. I don't know. Maybe there's a difference. Maybe they just don't call it coral once it's fossilized. I don't know.
I think corals only relates to when it's in water, live or dead.
Okay, yeah, man. But you think fossilized coral would cover
Still
that?
be coral.
Though. Yeah. But either way,
yeah,
I started thinking about this in okay, so if he's lifting the stuff purely with the tripods and he's applying this acoustic science to it or any type of levitation, any way you think about it, if he's trying to reverse the effects of gravity, right? I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, fuck, man. Gravity, it's going to go all the way down to the center of the Earth if nothing was there to stop it, right? Mm-hmm. It would pull you straight to it. There wouldn't be a point that you'd stop until you hit the center. But what is the opposite of that? Is the opposite of that literally going forever? In the opposite direction? Or I don't know, man. I can't figure out what the opposite is.
Re-explain that.
Okay, so what got me onto it was, in science and in pretty much anything you can think of, everything has an opposite.
Equal and opposite, yeah.
Yeah, every action has a reaction, every yin has a yang, every Bill has a Ted.
Yeah.
So if there was something, let's say anti-gravity, since gravity is going to pull you straight to the center of the mass or whatever that the gravity is, the object, what's the opposite of that? Would it be zero action at all? Or would it be repelling it?
Yeah.
And if it was repelling it, what's the point where it is no longer repelling it?
Well, no,
and if that's the case, then it doesn't seem like it could be the opposite because there is a finite point where gravity stops. You know what I mean?
Isn't that what the atmosphere, the atmosphere contains our point of gravity, therefore the opposite of that is zero gravity?
Yeah, once you get out of our atmosphere, it can't.
But inside our atmosphere, there is no opposite of gravity.
I think it's repulsion.
Right. You think it would be repulsion, but then you'd have to think of a point where that stops.
When what stops? Repulsion?
The repulsion of it, yeah.
When you're far away from it. Yeah, so I'm looking at it as a positive and negatively charged ion, electron, or magnet. You have a positive and negatively charged thing, and two, a positive and negative one that are attract each other versus a negative, negative, positive, positive, or repelled.
Right. Johnny sounds like Rain Man right now.
Sorry. Well, I'm remembering back to my time as the train engine days. I used to have those little connect cars, those little train cars, and you can with both positive and negative, you can have them attract or repel at the same force. So I'm confused on what you're confused about.
He's saying that the opposite of finding, if there is gravity.
What's the opposite?
What's the opposite?
Is no opposite.
Repulsion.
Yeah, what would be the opposite? Yeah, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm torn on. Because there's a finite end to the gravity's attraction. There's a finite end to that. So to have an opposite, there should be a finite end.
And to repulsion?
To repulsion, yeah. I guess that's just when it exits the
repulsion is man-made, essentially.
No, it's not.
In a place with gravity, absolutely.
No, you can have two positively charged ions that are not man-made.
In this thought, I'm considering all the work that we do against gravity. I'm not going to consider that anti-gravity. I'm not going to consider the work that we do anti-gravity.
in order to create anti-gravity, you have to be falling at rapid speeds on Earth, which is created by the gravitational pull.
So what I'm torn on is, would the opposite of the attraction of gravity be repulsion, or would it be no movement at all? Like, I'm torn on that.
It would be no movement at all.
But either way,
because even repulsion is man-made.
Repulsion is not man-made. You could have negatively and positively charged things, and there are in the Earth
the
right
magnet
now.
will repel. Yeah,
there are. I guarantee there's things out there that have the
magnet repels and attracts. You flip the magnet, it repels. Simple as that.
We didn't make that. Yeah. We can make that. We can also make artificial gravity. We can create that, but those are naturally occurring things in our universe.
But so one of the weird things I tripped on was like, dude trying to say, okay, we need to look at gravity differently. We need to look at it more like electricity, like the analogy Johnny just tried to make a minute ago, or just made. And he compared it more to electricity. And if you look at it that way, well, if all you have to do is switch the poles, you just have to figure out how to switch the poles and somehow keep it in the field. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So
but then what would the opposite of that be? Would it be endless repulsion? And it's just like, boom, it just shoots off in the opposite direction like fucking crazy? Or would it essentially turn the gravity off? And so when I was looking at this, I couldn't really figure it out. It was just something fun that I was thinking about, right? But in my mind, I was like thinking, for him to levitate this object, he would need the object to be repelled by the Earth's gravity while also being attracted to a certain extent. And I was like, God, is there anything out there that exists like that? Apparently the motherfucking is. Yeah, apparently it exists in the field of superconductivity. And apparently a superconductor is basically any conductor, like a wire or anything, that has no electrical resistance.
Yeah.
So everything that you can think of, copper, gold, blah, 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 blah. Us, we all have a resistance of some sort.
And a certain amount of conductivity.
Yeah. So a superconductor, zero electrical resistance. So if theoretically there was a loop of wire that was a superconductor and you applied a charge to it, it would go around this loop forever, no change, no stop.
And it wouldn't drain at all. It wouldn't change. There'd be literally no resistance, and therefore it could transfer that exact same amount of energy away from it.
It just exists, yeah.
Because
boom, there it is.
But
it's inside of a loop there, so it just never goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a superconductor, apparently they are temperature dependent. And at room temperature, depending on what material this is, you can make superconductors out of different things, but they're man-made.
This sounds so smart. This sounds so smart.
Well, so at room temperature, it acts normal. There's no magnetism, okay? But depending on the material, depends on the degree of drop in temperature. You drop this temperature to, like, insanely low, like negative 100 degrees, shit, crazy. It acts very strange, and it gets very magnetized. The first thing that happens is what's called the Meissner effect. And that makes this superconductor repel from a magnet, as if now it is a magnet of the opposite pole, right?
Okay.
Cool. It just seems like it made this piece of metal a magnet. Okay? So now, if you take that magnet and you force it very close to this new superconductor, and you feel the superconductor and the magnet pushing against each other, just like magnets would repel, right?
Yeah.
You know how you can take a magnet and you put them right up to each other and you really try and force them together and you feel it, you know?
Yeah, the repulsion.
Yeah, if you do that with this magnet and this new superconductor, then the field from that magnet passes through this conductor, and within a few seconds, the magnet's position in relation to the conductor is fixed.
Whoa.
Literally fixed in space.
Like a tractor beam, it just kind of like keeps it there and like suspended in space.
Exactly.
So that could explain why he was doing it at nighttime.
Yeah. It's possible that he was
why?
using these
Temperature
certain things.
control.
Temperature control, probably, yeah.
Oh.
And if there was a way that he was able to super cool these things, or he made a superconductor that was not temperature dependent. And that would apparently be the secret, because I guess they don't know of superconductors that aren't extremely temperature dependent. So it would repel to this, said distance of the attracted. It would repel and attract at the same distance. So it is just fixed right there.
Yeah.
And that's called magnetic levitation. And if you flip it, it's magnetic suspension. So it fucking exists out there in some degree. And I know you guys have probably seen these things. Probably years ago you saw these videos where you probably saw it in science class where they would, I think it came out in like 2011 or 10, 9, something like that. Where they were taking these discs, what looked like ice, and they would put them on tracks, and they would just push them along the track, and they would levitate it on the track.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this is.
Fuck,
and
dude.
they could show you right there. They could flip it over. They could place it in a certain position. Like they could change the position of that piece of ice disk or whatever, that superconductor on the XY axis, and it would hold that position in relation to the magnet. Like, that's what's fucking crazy. So if he was somehow able to use a superconductor, somehow essentially turn these blocks into superconductors, somehow, then he'd be able to reposition them, and they would literally be stuck in space as he moves them.
Suspended, and he can just manipulate
Literally
them
suspended.
as he please.
And not even, like, the acoustic thing, it would be suspended, possibly spinning, possibly moving, and you'd have to control it, right?
But this is just suspension, and
This would be suspension literally stuck in space. Like, unanimate, dude. It is just sitting there at a weird angle, and you move it to whatever angle you want, and it stays.
If he can make an animated object or animated and like just keep it and manipulate it, I feel like this should have been something he was publishing, producing, and trying to popularize and not make books about his non-family and kids.
He could have been seen as crazy though, because think about all the other things that someone could have been like, no, that's not going to work for us right now.
You're a devil worshiper.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was way ahead. Like they were just trying to figure out like architecture. Like they were trying to figure out how to strategically create buildings that stood and could support over long periods of time. And there was a whole like new market of things and businesses and trying to better, flight and, travel, like how to do that. And this guy rolls up and is like, hey, so I figured out this thing. I don't really have a background in science, but it's in stonemasonry. Trust me, it's going to work.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah. They could just be like, no, you're insane.
Like, what?
These are people who, like, this is the 1920s. Like, what I know about is, like, film. These are people who thought watching a film
was gonna affect
that they were going to die.
Yeah, like Jaws. That's why people were so scared of it, because they thought they were about to die.
Well, Jaws is like I'm talking like 1920s.
That's something everybody can relate to.
Like when people watched the old film of like The Train, they moved out of the way because they thought the train was going to come out of the screen and kill them all.
Picture.
Like, think about that, the capacity of trying to handle that versus the capacity of a guy being like, hey, so I can make things move and free float here.
Yeah.
Still, like, way back when, was it Socrates or Galileo who like found out that we were revolving around the sun, not vice versa?
Either way, I think it's pronounced Socrates. But.
Okay, well, anyway, so the concept was, they were going to kill him, but he, for better or worse, changed life till we know it today because they knew this was fact. So it just seems weird to me that this guy, unless he's kind of a dick, wouldn't share that, even though
He could have also been shut down. Like, he could have also been told, no, we can't do this because if too many people, if this is commonized, it could actually fuck up the magnetic plane
so the super
and
smart
fields of
peeps,
Earth.
like, obviously Tesla, he shut that earthquake machine down because he realized this could literally crack the Earth in half.
But we know about
like it
why.
could literally crack the Earth in half.
Yeah, but
I think it's possible that there are things out there that humans could do, like we could figure out how to do, that could literally destroy everything just by trying it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think that's so far-fetched.
It's not.
And it seems like maybe a science like this could lead to insane shit like that. And then maybe there's a reason why in past civilizations this stuff seems to have occurred, but it was not widely known and it was kept secret, possibly because it's so dangerous.
Right.
But either way, acoustic levitation's out there, just probably not for these big weights. You know, superconductivity levitation is out there. I don't know. I'm on board with a combination of acoustic levitation, superconductivity, and his obvious knowledge of mechanical advantage.
I definitely have to agree with you. There's things out there that have not been able to be moved with our understanding today. Like I don't personally know specifically how a lot of things like the Easter Island heads or this specific these weights or the pyramids were moved so easily. I know there's probably a plausible reason why, but there has to be some kind of like almost like natural force that is at play here. Not supernatural, not human, understanding about it, but like things that people can just manipulate to make these things their bitch.
Well, that's exactly what superconductivity and acoustic levitation would be. You know, so that's not like a man-made phenomenon. That's just a man-discovered phenomenon. Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Nick, what do you think? How did it happen?
Aliens. No, I think there is a way to manipulate the magnetic planes of Earth. I mean, I've heard of many different theories, like the magnetic field therapy for people with problems sleeping.
Yeah.
That at night you can actually manipulate the magnetic
Yep.
fields of Earth to sleep better.
And so everyone's turning down like the thermostat. Essentially, like it's a group magnetic field. You're like, I want it to be this pH. I want it to be this pH.
Yeah, I know, and I truly I believe that in that capacity, that's about as far as we can go with manipulating the magnetic field of Earth to help us. But I do think 100% that I think there's something there. Now, it's something I want to see. Like, I want to see some shit levitate. Based on the manipulators involved, and I think that he figured out the right manipulators. It's just a shame that maybe he did say something, and the government at the time came to him and said, "You need to, no,
Yeah,
this isn't good.
You need to snub that.
I mean, especially on the brink of war. I mean, we're talking about like we talked about birds' flight to the poles. I think that it could have to do with that. This guy. Could create a rift in warfare.
Right. I don't know what Latvia's relationship with the Nazis were at the time, but probably closer than the U.S. I don't know.
Well, with nuclear weapons, I mean, we're talking 1920s when you started building this thing, all the way through. It was continuously moving as a project till the 1950s. Yeah. 1960s. So, like, we were at war that entire time. One, with nuclear activity with Japan, and two, with Germany, with the Nazis. So I think that was a huge factor where maybe he did try bringing it, and the government's like, nope, you let that die. Yeah. Here's this money. Here's some hush money. You let that die.
Yeah, here's $3,000 in a map.
Here's $3,000 in a map. Maybe the map, I think the map might lead to maybe where he built it on that specific plane. I think maybe where he built it, there is a secret.
I think that's the right tree to be barking on.
Yeah, I think there is something beneath it. I think if someone were to investigate the map, I don't know how to get below Coral Castle, but I think that if you do get below it, I think there is something there.
I think that it could be more related to how the ley lines interact with the area, so possibly a different spatial dimension that he might be mapping out that in some way he's able to map out. I don't know. That's what I would think.
In other news, I had to pull out my phone. The professor from earlier that we were trying to figure out is Professor Flitwick. He was the Charms Master today.
Flitwick, played by Warwick Davis.
No, it's a different elf.
Every elf is played by Warwick Davis.
Yes,
is that not right?
Different.
All right, you know what?
Flitwick died, I'm pretty sure. The actual guy who played him died a couple seasons in.
Flitwick actor.
Bummer, bro.
Phileas Flitwick, played by Warwick Davis.
Oh, the Warwick Davis.
All right, well,
I'm looking at it right now.
That got me.
Don't
say it, Nick.
I'm right.
Okay, here's a cool animated logo for us, right? Okay. Warwick Davis in a like fluffy brain light bulb outfit? No, that doesn't work. Well, Warwick Davis in a snail costume?
We're getting places. We're getting ideas.
Warwick Davis in a owl costume.
Okay, we just want Warwick Davis to be involved in the podcast at some point.
And somehow.
Yeah, please, Warwick.
That shit's crazy, Jay. That shit's crazy.
Well, another hard-hitting, I think we're starting to learn there's like a pattern
science
of who's covering what, like what a Nick episode looks like and what a Taylor episode looks like. I think we are starting to see there's a pattern there, but the connection between everything has been, and I feel like will always be, the Freemasons,
Illuminati confirmed.
Totally.
Bohemian Grove. It's all there.
Totally.
And it's continued. We're on episode 22, I think, of maybe all of the episodes we've done, maybe 3 can't be connected to, like, I don't connect Bigfoot to Bohemian Grove.
The Biodome, maybe not, but then you talk about Alec Baldwin, the Baldwins, we're talking Illuminati, bro. I mean, it's hard to disconnect. It's hard to disconnect. I'm telling ya.
Well, guys, we met a lot of you this past weekend in Orlando. So the same goes for you if you're a new listener. If you got a hypothetical you want us to talk about or a thought you'd like to share about today's specific episode, great news. You can shoot us an email at hybrothoughts@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram at Hybrothetical Thinking. You can also be our friend on hybrotheticalthinking.com and also send us a little line over at facebook.com/hybrotheticalthinking. So with all the friends that we made in Orlando, we had a fun little sheet that you can sign up, and we'll give you a podcast shout out. It's one of the things you can win. So once we get our Patreon launch, which is very, very, very close to being launched, we're just waiting on some technical difficulties. The page is almost live. If you couldn't get a podcast shout out Orlando, good news. You can donate a very small fee, and we'll give shout outs all day long. So we're going to take some time, and we're going to dedicate this part of the podcast to you. The fun fact is we told everyone they could write down whatever name they want, and we'll read it. So some of these
they wanted, they could bash somebody. They could say
could have been a
anything.
phrase.
And you're gonna hear that in a second. Some of these things are not humans.
Yeah, some of these aren't human.
That
But
was
we're going to
my
read
chewy.
them. There's a chewy. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to read a handful, and then Taylor's going to take over, and then John's going to take over. So there's no fatigue. We want to make sure that this is entertaining.
Fatigue.
So I'm going to start off. Here we go. We got interlinked jewelry.
Oh, they
Drew
were
M.
badass.
They were badass.
Are we gonna go through each one of these and describe the person?
No, we're not. I'm going to fly through.
Okay.
Taylor just wanted to get that one thing in to make
They
sure.
were badass.
I might try and snag another one, so I don't know.
Okay.
Drew M. Lane. The Fanatic Zone. Gabby Brescia. Mike Lamole. Ellie Hand. Kesha G. Hogman the Destroyer. James is cool. Mick Wilson. Big Bear. My name's Jeff. Sonar.
My name's Jeff.
Jeff the Alien.
Sonar with little dog prints. And the 10th is the best. Taylor?
Did I sign it?
No, I mean, you're next.
You're the next.
You read the next part of the names.
section.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm starting at 15. Here we go. Rip Carl, I love you. That's probably talking about Carl from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, he is. I hope
Spoiler
so.
alert.
The tattooed hottie from Frontline Cleaning Tampa. All right, hottie. And
He's actually a
tattooed.
guy. It's actually a guy.
Okay, I retract that last statement. The moon landing was fake.
You're damn right.
Dougie Fox, what up? Oh, hi, Abigail from Orlando. Kara and Tifiana. Mad Sky 1002. Nikki New. Daniela T. Smiley face. Wendy and Katie rocks. Mags, the greatest Kessler. Pickle Mama Colleen.
Pickles.
Kiss Missa. Deadpool rocks. Oh, here's a good one. Petey Cinderson rules. Hey, Petey Cinderson. Orlando 2018, Zod was here and took over.
He took over.
That was my last one. But I also want to shout out, very special shout out to our friend Jess, who all the way from the UK, she came and hung out at our booth like the whole time.
Jess.
She was
Heck
tight.
yeah.
And our new buddy Tyler from the northern United States, man. What's up, guys?
What's up, Doc?
All right, it's Johnny time. At Sid.Odin for Instagram. Danny Mess. Dan plus Sarah Honeyset. That's a cool name. Adelarice. Why did I get all the hard names? Adelarice plus Antonio plus Josh plus Eris plus Sam, Devin, and Casey Silva Hart. Ryan Albin. Deja, smiley face. Caitlin was at Walker Stalker Orlando. It's an at symbol. Desi Hart. Daja Moore. These are a lot of hard names. Mackenzie McCusin is amazing. Sarah Newman's rocks. Randy, Bear, and Casey. Jordan and K Rex.
Hey, and if you guys out there, I think the Orlando people enjoyed our company. If any of you cities out there think there's something cool that we could go set up a booth at, send us an email, let us know, because we'll set up a fucking booth.
Cryptid Con.
Cryptid Con. Yeah, I want to go to Alien Con so bad, dude, so bad.
I want to go to Alien Con.
Contact in the desert. Get us there. That'd be cool. Oh, yeah, someone wants to just like pay for our trip, contact in the desert. You know our email and stuff. Yeah, so sweet.
Patreon.
All
right,
yeah,
y'all.
we do that shit. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of Hybrothetical Thinking. It was a good one. We're pushing towards 30, and then guys, when we get to episode 50, we got some crazy shit for you. So let's start teasing.
We're not even halfway there, though.
Episode 50 is a big one?
It's gonna be a big one. We got something big we're gonna do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We're not even halfway there, though.
It involves a spoon.
What?
I can't say I've said too much. I've said too much.
A spoon?
So without further, you know what? I'm just going to go and say I'm happy that we're here. We're doing this. We're still doing it. And it's, doing things. I've been Nick.
Thanks, baby. I've been Taylor this whole time.
I'm Johnny.
And guys, we have a new ad out. Make sure to check that out. And if you see Johnny on the street, don't slap him. Actually,
or do
you can for this episode, but just don't slap him after
giving
that.
them positive and negative reinforcement.
Yeah, well,
one or the other.
Slap him and then don't slap him. You guys have 1 week to slap him.
Okay,
perfect.
1 week.
If anybody finds me, actually, I'm not giving that. I'm not giving that.
His address is 3774.
No, it's not.
You know what I just realized? Nobody asked me a single question in my left ear at the con. Not a single person.
No one went through with it.
Whatever.
All right, we're grateful. We're so happy that you guys are still listening, and we're gonna have some guests next week that I'm very excited about.
Ooh.
First time ever, and the last time ever.
Probably the last time ever.
It'll be good, and I'm excited about the topic. I've already got it picked out. It's something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's gonna be a fun.
Power Rangers.
Shit.
Nice, I got it.
Yeah.
Was it really?
No, it's just
okay.
kidding.
Okay.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Longest outro ever, but just getting sentimental.
Okay.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.